Welcome, entrepreneurs. I'm Ann Kay on my lifelong quest, Escaping Ordinary. Join me as I interview wildly successful and rising entrepreneurs that value travel as an essential influence in their outlook and mindset, and how it helps them live happy, fulfilling lives, build successful businesses, and craft their own extraordinary lives. I'm Ann Kay, and this is Escaping Ordinary. Today I'm excited to welcome back Nic Fitzgerald to Escaping Ordinary, because if I can, I'm going to encourage him to have a little fun with me today, exploring how his love for anything Star Wars has added to his inspiration treasure chest. Nic is one of my personal coaches and a creator of the Storytelling for Business framework. His program is the fastest way to build a brand, have your customers fall in love with what you do, and sell more of your products and services. How? Through telling your story through video. I've gained so much amazing insight through his program, and I'm floored not just by his detailed content, but his passion to help others create powerful stories that connect them to their audiences. But today, we get to explore the galaxy with Nic through Star Wars and how it's influenced your ability to craft your life and your business. Welcome back, Nic Fitzgerald, to Escaping Ordinary and a land far, far away. It's always felt to me that travel's greatly influenced our outlook and how travel can get more extreme than Star Wars. And I was thinking about, the character development and that who's more evil, the Emperor or Darth Vader?
Ooh, that's a good question. Darth Vader is obviously the more visible character, the one that we see do lots of bad stuff. But I'm going to have to say that from my perspective anyway, that the Emperor is more evil because he was like the puppet master pulling all the strings behind the scenes and manipulating and getting people to do the things that he wanted, letting them get their hands dirty while he just stayed. And even if you go outside of the movies into the expanded universe about how Darth Vader, his suit and all those kinds of things, that Darth Vader was in constant pain all the time, and he could never sleep and all these different types of things. And it's because the Emperor helped design his suit in order to have those things to keep him angry and irritable, so to speak, so that he could get him to trigger and do the things that he wanted to. So I'm going to say that the Emperor Palpatine is just a bad man. Yeah, well, and that's if I were to sit down and do a marathon and watch them, I would still start with 4, A New Hope, go through that trilogy, and then go to 1, 2, and 3, and then watch the sequel trilogy of 8, 9, or 7, 8, and 9, because in that original trilogy, all of that, the big reveal in The Empire Strikes Back of, that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. We all know that by that time, if it takes away the gravity of that moment. I remember, this is fun, when my kids were really young, when our oldest two were really young, we'd do story time, they shared a room and all that kind of stuff. And I told them, without books, just telling them the story of Star Wars. But I started with A New Hope. And I remember when it was Empire Strikes Back, when it was the reveal. And it was funny because I didn't tell the whole story in each one. I broke down every story into little smaller stories. But when it was the reveal of Darth Vader being Luke's father, even for my kids who were, 5 and 3 or, really, really young, when I told them that Darth Vader was Luke's father, they were like
all of us, yeah.
What? No way! They were shocked, just like pretty much everyone else when they watched it. It was just one of the greatest reveals of all time, and that kind of stuff. And even that's the thing that's fun about Star Wars and good storytelling in general, is that it doesn't matter what era it was told in or what audience it's told. When it's told the right way and structured the right way, it gets the same reaction. It's like clockwork almost. And it was fun to see it in my 2 young kids who were experiencing. They hadn't seen the movies or any of that type of stuff. It was me telling the story of the power of the stories, and Star Wars is great at this as well, is that like it builds that connection. It gives you a place to be able to go and escape a little bit your reality, but then also it affects the way that you interact with your reality when you come back.
Because human nature,
it helps
really
forge character
change.
and worldview and all those kinds of
It
things.
depends on how you want to make a change in your life to fit what your ideal is.
Exactly. Like storytelling is a foundational element of being a human. You know, if you go back millions of years to when, you know, we were grunting in caves or scratching pictures on the sides of rocks, or gathering the tribe around the fire, and the elders are telling stories about this or that, and
innate.
Like those things are fundamental elements of being a human being. Oh man, there's so many. Like, well, one, you could use the literal success of Star Wars financially as a great model. You know, if you can't see this on the recording, but like behind me, I have all these Star Wars figures and toys and stuff like that. That was George Lucas's genius. Yeah, there's on this little green shelf back here. Like, and that was George Lucas saying, he didn't make a whole lot of money off of Star Wars from the box office specifically for the first one, because it was such an unproven thing, and who knew if it was going to work or not. But he owned all the rights for the merchandising, and he went and had action figures and ships and all these kinds of things made. And he used, like, Kenner was the company that made these action figures and these toys. It was funny. Star Wars came out in May of 1977. Christmas 1977, they wanted to have all the toys ready for the Christmas rush, right? But they got a late start because they weren't sure. They weren't mass producing all these toys really before the movie started. There wasn't a lot of foresight there. It was more reactionary, like, holy cow, it's a hit. Let's do all this stuff. They were so brilliant in some of the marketing that they did. Like, they didn't have any toys to sell at Christmas time. You know what they did? They sold an empty box. They sold an empty box that had 4 or 5 figures, you know, that said, you buy this box right now for Christmas, you give it to your kid for Christmas, and he's going to be he or she's going to be super excited. And then when the figures come out, you send in this coupon or this voucher, and then we send you the actual figurines.
Don't we talk about that?
He found ways to make money when he didn't have a physical product.
Interest
right? Like, so
like that's one, as you go. Yeah.
Exactly. For business, it's a great model to see. Like, whether you're actually selling a physical product, or you have an idea or a course or something that you can do. You gauge and you find interest, and when the market tells you that that's what they want, like, just like the market was saying, we want Star Wars toys, I want all those figurines, they made them, and even though they weren't able to meet a deadline to have them by Christmas, they could make a cardboard box with some pictures on it, and the kids were super excited still to have that, because they knew that nobody else was getting
the first
figures either. They were disappointed, but they were super excited to get that.
That was the draw.
Yeah, exactly. So there was, you know, using that one example is like a great example in the real world aspect of Star Wars, is that it was marketed and positioned so well once it became a success. Obviously, you know, some of you might be listening to this and be like, oh, Star Wars. But, like, you cannot deny the cultural influence and significance that it has had. It was Jaws was the first blockbuster movie in, I think it was 76 or 75 that came out. The first, like, legitimate one. But Star Wars took movie making to a whole new level. It introduced like all new, tons of new techniques, special effects, and everything were like absolutely jaw-dropping, groundbreaking things at the time. And even today, it's still the thing is it stands the test of time. Yeah, sure, you can tell that they're models in something, right? But with the way that they did it, they were they paved the way. This is how we can compare Star Wars to business. Again, in the real world sense, is like they were innovative. They they took new ideas and they didn't know how they were going to execute it, but they got creative people together and problem solved and found a solution. You know, they didn't want to have, you know, models hanging on a string wobbling like all the cheesy B-movie sci-fi movies up to that point. They found ways with blue screens and having the models stay stationary, but the camera was moving
so much
to create that sense of motion and all. You saw them; they were over budget. They were in time crunches, all these things, and they made it happen. Like the edit of the film as well was one of those things where how many times have you had an idea for your business and you're super excited and you like jot it all down or you whiteboard it out or whatever it is, but then like actually putting it together from concept or from paper to a final deliverable thing. It's a big undertaking, and you know, give yourselves credit if you've launched anything in your business, because there's a lot of work that goes into doing that. And you know, it takes, the thing that I learned when I worked in film is that it was, and what initially got me interested in wanting to work in film was seeing people who specialize in certain areas, how they come together in concert to create something amazing, a finished product. And Star Wars is obviously, you know, no different, and took it to a whole new level. But like, if we look at the story of Star Wars and we think of business and how it can relate to it, it's just like, we meet Luke, right? We meet R2-D2 and C-3PO. They're the first main characters that we meet. And then we meet Darth Vader, and then we meet Princess Leia, and then we meet Luke, you know, as the story progresses. But at what we see that we can result or compare to our business is like, each one of us has challenges. And we have created our business or our product or whatever it is that we're working on right now, because we have overcome or had those challenges come and hit us right in the face. You know, Luke didn't ask for the Empire to come to him. He wanted to join the Academy, you know, we learned that. But he wanted to use it as a way to get out and find his purpose and to do something greater than himself. If you've started a business, you have accepted that role. You might be the reluctant hero type where you're like, I'm not doing this for accolades or for, you know, all the awards and attention and all that kind of stuff. But you've answered the call to help solve people's problems. And that's what we see with Luke. He's given that invitation. And, you know, I go way deeper into this type of stuff with my framework training and stuff. But like, you look at Obi-Wan introduces Luke to this new idea, the Force, right? He had no idea that it existed really before then. He had no idea that his father was a Jedi, you know, these types of things. And Obi-Wan introduced it to him. Now, when he did Luke say, okay, I'm in, let's go and do this? No, he fought it. He said, I have to help my aunt and uncle here. They've raised me my whole entire life. I can't just abandon them when they need me. Even though I really want to leave, he felt that sense of duty to stay with them, right? And yeah, exactly. He knew that it was an opportunity, but he felt that sense of responsibility. Just like you with your business, you felt that sense of responsibility. There's a reason why you started and are pursuing this, and your family members or your friends think you're crazy because you're working super late or pulling all-nighters, or, you know, working at a 9 to 5 and then coming home and working until, you know, the wee hours of the morning to build your side thing in order for it to build up, whatever it is that you're doing. You've answered and you felt that call and that sense of purpose. And the thing that's great is that you're not going it alone, just like Luke was, right? But it wasn't until Luke had his family removed from him, right? He was an orphan, but his aunt and uncle were killed by the Empire, who were tracking and trying to find the droids that he had. And it wasn't until they were gone, and, you know, there's that emotional scene when he hurries back home and the house is on fire and he like sees their dead bodies there on the ground, that he has to go through that trauma in order for him to be prepared to say, okay, he tells Obi-Wan, he's like, there's nothing here for me now. Nothing left for me now. Like, I'm going to go with you to Alderaan and learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father, right? That was the thing that propelled him forward to take the steps. And whether you had something dramatic like that happen in your life, or it wasn't as dramatic, there was something, a trigger that you experienced. And so like seeing that in, in the world of make-believe in Hollywood and in shows, you can see the parallels to your own life and your journey through it. And again, you meet the other characters like Han and Chewie and Princess Leia and, Ewoks and, all these different things that help in the story. You have all of those. You're not going it alone in your journey. Even though entrepreneurship can feel super lonely at times. But you're not alone because you have a supporting cast that can't do the heavy lifting. Like, Han Solo can't use the Force. He can't move things with his mind. Even if he wanted to, he can't. Like, just like there are things that you can do that your support system can't do for themselves or do on their own. And that is what gives you the power to be able to serve and help your audience or your clients or your customers, because you've spent that time and you've crafted that skill. Luke Skywalker didn't just start levitating rocks and stuff just because he said, okay, I want to be a Jedi. He worked hard at it through the course of, a couple of movies before he was actually successfully able to manipulate and move things. You're going through those same struggles in your business, regardless if you've been doing it for a while and you have success. You're always evolving and creating more and trying to give more value or to take the next step. Another lesson from it is that you have to have a guide through certain times of your business. There are times when you feel alone or things have been taken away and it's just you that you have to make things work. Luke had Obi-Wan, and then Obi-Wan got killed by Darth Vader and he was on his own again. Then he had Yoda, and then he had to leave. There are times and moments on your path where you need a guide. And as much as you can have a guide that doesn't do the work for you, they show you the things that you have to do, and give you that encouragement and the rebukes at times, bringing you back down to reality and those kinds of things. Just like I've had coaches do that to me through all my sports career, where I thought it was pretty hot stuff, and then I'd have a coach come in and humble me and show me the things that I needed to be doing to improve, because he didn't want me to be content with where I was. And we see that with the mentors and like the guides, like the Obi-Wans and the Yodas in our own lives. And then also we become those characters for the people that we serve. I'm not the hero of Anne's story. I'm just a Yoda over here, and we'll use Yoda because he's like 2 feet tall and I'm 7 feet tall, so it's just a fact. Yeah, but like Anne is the hero of her story. She's not the hero of your story. She is the guide in showing you the things to do that will help you, right? And that's when we accept that and we don't make it about us. Sure, own your greatness, all that stuff. I totally advocate for being confident and your abilities and what you've accomplished. But when you use that as an outward way to serve people, it's huge. Just like, again, the whole Star Wars thing. Luke he went on this journey with Obi-Wan. He was in very dangerous situations. He had his mentor taken away from him. He relied on this new thing and something greater than himself, and he found success. That's the same thing. Like, you got to step forward with faith, whether it's a spiritual faith or just a self-belief that as you take the next step, as you move towards that goal, towards whatever it is that you're wanting to achieve or accomplish or provide, when you do that and believing that you're going to get there, you're going to find success. Well, and like for me, I've acted in front of the camera, and I'm going to get a lot of people being like, "Oh my gosh, that was amazing," or "You're so great," and all those pats on the back. And that's all fine and dandy. Like, take it with grace and have fun with it, right? But the most satisfying moments that I've had in my career with helping my clients and things like that is sitting down with them either next to me or we're on a Zoom call or whatever it is, and seeing tears stream down their face because they heard their own story in a powerful way. and or to see the light bulb turn on with them when I say, "Did you hear what you just said?" Repeat what you just said, and they have that breakthrough and be like, "That's the thing that I was missing. That's what I need to be focusing on." That is so much more fulfilling for me in any aspect of my business than making $10,000 on a project or having $100,000 a year or making $1 million. Seeing those moments of clarity and them feeling the power. Yeah, I think of Superman as an example. Superman always had all of his powers from the time he was born. The laser eyes and the flying and super strength and all that stuff. We see it in the original I think it was 77 or 76 when the first Superman movie came out with Christopher Reeve as Superman. But we see that when he is rescued or found by Ma and Pa Kent when the truck is going to fall over, but it doesn't. They turn over and there's this little baby holding up the truck, right? He always had that power, but it wasn't until he went on this journey himself. He knew he had these powers. He could do some things, but it wasn't time. He wasn't ready, right? And it wasn't until after Pa Kent dies and Superman Clark goes up to the Fortress of Solitude, and he spent 12 years, up there learning about his abilities and all this stuff before he went to Metropolis and got a job at the Daily Planet and all these things. He put in so much work and understood himself and understood his power and his greatness, even though he had it all the time. It's the same with you in your business. You've always had this within you. The stories that people share, you've always had these stories. You just haven't found the key to unlock it or to open up the chest to let them all out, right? And I might help. I'm not the one that's gonna shove the key in the lock. I will show you what the key is, and you unlock it, right? And that's the fun about what we do as entrepreneurs is that our solutions, our products or services help people to improve and move forward. Whether that's with a physical product, being able to have a water bottle and you can drink X amount of ounces of water a day, or you're a coach helping people move forward and overcome their challenges or whatever it might be. Everything you have offered as an entrepreneur is an improvement. It helps their life get better. And just with Star Wars, we see how as they go through that journey and all the failures along the way and the trials and the struggles and the small wins and all that kind of stuff ultimately leads to them defeating the Empire. And we're dancing with Ewoks and around a campfire and having a lot of fun. Okay. So the best place to be able to kind of follow along and get a hold of me is at friendlygiantfilms.com. You can actually get a free copy of my storytelling frameworks that we've been talking about and start putting it to work. I also have, that's where you can get access to training that goes even deeper into the storytelling framework, or to talk about crafting stories for videos for your business and all that kind of stuff too. So friendlygiantfilms.com is the best place to be able to get a hold of me or dive into my world. I also have a Facebook page where I do Facebook Lives a lot, and you can get to know me better through that and just all the fun, dorky stuff that I like that I see in the world.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for coming.
Those are the two best places.
Looking forward to you coming back another time. Thanks so much for listening to this show. It's been great to have you here. And if you liked what you heard, please hit the subscribe button now, like, share, and leave a rave review below. It would be most appreciated. And don't forget to join us next week. I can't wait to introduce you to my next guest. While you're at it, head over to Facebook and join the Escaping Ordinary group. You'll find the link in the episode notes. Once you're there, you'll be able to interact with me and like-minded entrepreneurs also looking to escape ordinary. Oh, and when you join the group, you'll get a special gift designed especially for those escaping their ordinary. In the meantime, be looking for those precious gems of inspiration all around you when you're traveling the world or just going around the corner, and start filling your treasure chest of insights.